send her home. Lillard, long-range three, and it's good! At the buzzer! That's amazing. Oh, 5 years ago, Lillard hit a three.
Damian Lillard is the best player in the National Basketball Association right now. Plain and simple.
Over the past decade, the point guard position has become the most important in NBA basketball. If you've been watching ball for decades, you may recall when big men like Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Shaquille O'Neale dominated the league. But now, guards almost exclusively run the show. Today's centers even want to play like guards, as evidenced by how often they shoot threes and take their defenders off the dribble these days. The majority of the league's top teams have elite point guards, or players at other positions who essentially assume the role of point forward for their squads. Guys like Stephen Curry, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, Trae Young, and Luka Doncic come to mind when you think about the NBA's best floor generals. Combo guards and point forwards like LeBron James, James Harden, Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, and even Ben Simmons would be in that conversation as well. However, there seems to always be one guy who's left out of the conversation for no reason at all. That man is Damian Lillard.
9/10 left. A three wins the series. It's Lillard. He got the shot off. Oh my God! Good!
Lillard has been one of the NBA's premier point guards since the Portland Trail Blazers drafted him with the 6th overall pick in the 2012 NBA draft. Yet he never seems to receive much recognition from the media for his accomplishments. His outstanding play in the bubble in Orlando has brought this problem to light once again, making all of us question why we haven't been paying more attention to the pride of Rip City. No one expected much from Lillard when Portland drafted him. He was a slight 6'2" guard out of the mid-major Weber State, and he was in the same draft as stars like Anthony Davis, Bradley Beal, Andre Drummond, and Draymond Green. Portland had just finished with 28 wins and 38 losses in the lockout-shortened season prior to his arrival, so few were pinning him as the franchise's savior. But he proved them all wrong, starting all 82 games and averaging 19 points and 6.5 assists per game right out of the gate. He won the Rookie of the Year award and landed on the All-Rookie team, though Portland would finish just 33-49. It became clear that his rare combination of outside shooting and elite ball handling made him nearly impossible to cover, and he became a member of the new wave of guards who thrive with this playing style. Lillard recently turned 30 years old, and he now has averaged at least 20 points per game in every season with the exception of his first. He also garnered 5 All-Star appearances and 4 All-NBA spots. While this is impressive, one could argue that he has been snubbed many times in the past. For instance, he was averaging 25.1 points in 2016 and 27 points in 2017, but didn't make the All-Star team either year. Even more strange, he was named to the All-NBA second team in 2016, despite not getting an All-Star nod. The Western Conference has its fair share of guards, like Curry, Harden, Klay Thompson, and Westbrook to contend with, but Lillard has been overlooked by the media for far too long. Over the years, his athleticism and finishing ability have developed as well. He bulked up to 195 pounds, which has allowed him to finish through contact around the rim and rip through the arms of reaching defenders with ease. The dunks he throws down today would seem impossible given his style of play as a rookie, but he gets above the rim quite frequently now. In fact, he's had many rim-rocking poster dunks over hapless defenders in his career, and he only just turned 30. Lillard's shot-making may seem magical, and to some extent it is. His calm demeanor and his composed nature is not just an effect of his red-hot play. It's also a manifestation of his highly strategic and analytical decision-making that causes these types of runs in the first place. No matter the defensive coverage, Lillard has the answer. Like a great chess player that has spent countless hours studying every possible board alignment, Lillard has internalized the counter to every counter. None of his moves are his signature one because they all are. The public sees his long-range shooting and believes that's the key to his offensive success. In reality, it's his high IQ decision-making combined with a well-rounded game that has no holes. Mind and body work in sync, of course, and thus we cannot overstate Lillard's physical gifts that have been forged through years of tireless work in the gym. He understood earlier than most that perfecting his core and not bulking up or slimming down was the key to basketball success in today's perimeter-heavy age. Lillard was explaining how he is able to shoot so accurately on logo threes, named so because they are deep enough to touch the artwork you see just across the timeline on most NBA courts.
9. Oh my
Look
goodness.
at this shot by Lillard.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
That was from the NBA logo.
oh my goodness, what a
The same core strength that allows Lillard to pull up effortlessly from 30 feet away also powers his most devastating tool, his explosive hesitation dribble. Lillard isn't the fastest guard out there, but it doesn't matter because he changes speed so quickly. He goes 0 to 60 in the blink of an eye, leaving even the quickest defenders in the dust. In recent years, Lillard's also added a deadly step-back jumper going either direction from any distance. As with his pull-up jumper, the threat of the drive sets these shots up. Having them in his arsenal allows him to transfer the same rapid processing he uses to read the feet of big men in pick and roll over to one-on-one situations. The only knock critics have been able to levy against Lillard has been the success of his Trailblazers teams, but even that argument is becoming weaker by the year. After the conclusion of this regular season, Lillard will have led Portland to 5 winning seasons in his 8 years there, an impressive feat considering the franchise is a small market that has historically struggled to attract superstars in free agency. Dame's Blazers teams have not typically made deep playoff runs, and he's never reached the NBA Finals. That being said, he's had to deal with some of the best teams the NBA has ever seen, including super teams like the Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs, and Houston Rockets. The team made it to the second round in 2014 and 2016, but ended up bowing out. Last season, however, was a different story. Aided by wingman CJ McCollum, Lillard took the Blazers all the way to the Western Conference Finals after a terrific 53-29 season that landed them the 3rd seed in the West. They were unfortunately swept by the Warriors, but Lillard proved that he could make a deep run with limited help against top-tier competition. In all likelihood, he'll have to perform at the same level in order for this year's Portland team to win even one postseason series. Before the 2019-20 NBA regular season restarted in Orlando, Florida, Lillard was vocal about not wanting his team to be invited unless they had a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. The NBA's creative structure of the race for the West 8th seed gave many teams a chance to fight for it, and Dame has certainly taken advantage of the opportunity. Not only has Lillard carried Portland all the way into the 8th spot in the West, but he's performed better than most, if not all the other players in the bubble. He scored 20 or more points in all 7 games, capped off by back-to-back 51-point and 61-point performances in Portland's 6th and 7th contests. Dame is in the midst of his prime, and we're seeing him at possibly the best he's ever played. He's attacked defenders with a vengeance, driving fearlessly to the rim in one possession before using a nasty step back to free himself for an open three-pointer the next. Dame time has become the mantra when the Blazers enter the 4th quarter because they seem to just hand him the ball and let him devastate the defense. Lillard's 61-point performance against the Dallas Mavericks might have been the most electric outing of any player this season. It tied his career high, and it gave Portland a crucial win in a do-or-die game over a talented Mavs team led by Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. To add more fuel to the fire, Dame was facing criticism from basketball commentator Skip Bayless and Clippers players Paul George and Patrick Beverley, all of whom he had engaged with on social media. The adversity must have motivated Dame to play harder because he gave his fans a night to remember and has been locked in ever since. In the victory, he knocked down 9 of 17 threes and all 18 of his free throw attempts. The Blazers ended up winning the game 134-131. Thanks to Lillard's non-stop effort in the waning seconds. When it was all said and done, he was just the 2nd player in league history to ever put up 60-plus points and at least 5 rebounds and 5 assists in the same game next to Wilt Chamberlain. For the record, he finished with 8 dimes. As usual, he owned the 4th quarter, taking over the game for the Blazers. Though the Mavs are not an elite defensive team, they could not seem to stop Dame from knocking down insanely deep threes and cutting through the defense to score at the rim. It was his show, and he proved all of his doubters wrong. Portland has won 6 of their 8 games, and this latest win and nail-biting game versus Brooklyn helped them grab that last spot, with Lillard having another sick performance, showing he's not ready to go home just yet. Lillard will have a chance to prove to the basketball world that he's a winner, and yet another opportunity to bring the Larry O'Brien Trophy back home to Oregon. You can say Lillard has mastered the game itself. His demeanor is both the cause and effect of Lillard time. The hotter he gets, the more cold-blooded he really is. He is truly the most dangerous point guard in the league right now, and it's his time to shine. Do you think Lillard is the best guard in the league right now? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time at Baller Central.